Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friday pregame of the Turin Derby. I am doing weird accent because I can. And if you have problem, sucks to suck. I'm Eastern European. Get used to it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Turin Derby, the Derby della Mole showdown
Yes.
pregame show. It's me and Dave. Dave, how are you, buddy?
Good, good. Doing pretty well. We have a lot coming up next few days. We went for almost 2.5 hours yesterday with the
Holy
career mode.
smokes, that was long.
Yeah, so I mean it is what it is. We need to catch up. We're gonna do the last two games, Atalanta and Torino. Well, probably by the time you see this, it's probably gonna be airing about the same
Yeah.
time, give or take. So of course, be sure to check that out. Like, subscribe, check out the Discord, which you can scan this barcode up in the top left. You can also hit the link down in the description. That's where we play pro clubs. That's where we just nerd out, whether it's video games nerd out like FC24 or just footy nerd, just in general, anything. That's where we hang out. That's where the crew exists, and where you guys can come and chill with all of us as well. So, Dash, we actually have a bit of news this week.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of news. It starts with the sauce, ends with money.
Yeah, so
Which
I
one you
guess
want to tackle?
let's just get $200 million capital increase. That is the newest thing that has come out off the presses today. So I have not read an official statement from Juve yet, but there's all sorts of sources coming out saying that the 200 million euro increase is happening.
Mhm.
And I mean, from a fan perspective, I guess that's a good thing. If you're a shareholder, I don't know what you think about that. That's a whole different perspective. But
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
you know,
is.
as a fan, I think we're all happy, and maybe we'll get a new midfielder to replace the one, the only, the testosterone riddled Paul Pogba.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, right? So as the test results came out this morning, and obviously it confirmed what the first one confirmed, that our boy has been juicing. Right now, I think it's more so. I believe he has 7 days to get a defense case going, and there's nothing really that affects the club on here unless he's able to make some evidence that the club made him take it. But Pogba's trying to see if there's something he can do so he can get back, because he potentially faces a 4-year ban, and for him, 4 years is pretty much early retirement. So
At his age, absolutely. At
yes,
any age, really. I mean, you're kind of screwed. I do have a couple of things here. First one from Nicolo Shera, just to kind of explain the situation a little better for everyone. The counter analysis carried out on test 2B confirmed Paul's positivity for
it's such a
testosterone.
it's such a funny terminology.
It
Confirmed
is.
his positivity. Let's go.
Yeah, his positivity to testosterone is what it meant. Okay, so the preliminary investigation phase conducted by Pier Filippo Laviani will now begin. Pogba has 7 days to present defense briefs and be questioned within 2 to 4 weeks. So Nicola Shira. From Gianluigi Longardi, he says Pogba risks up to 4 years of ban. Two, if his involuntary nature in taking the substance is confirmed, and in case of a plea bargain, he could receive a discount on the penalty. So just break that down. If he didn't know if it was involuntary, he might get a 50% deduction. Now he might get a further reduction on that penalty if there's a plea bargain. So it can actually be as short as 1 year, best case scenario.
Yeah,
But
but
that's that.
I mean, for him, sure, but for Juve, I think Juve is already looking for cases to terminate. So
Well, that's actually another piece of news as well, in that Juve will exercise the right to null and void the contract essentially, and take back all money that they have given and how much they would have owned, somewhere in the amount of 30 million euro total, which could
the
also,
Rom.
yeah, I mean, that's how much he's worth. So maybe that and $200 million capital increase, things kind of are all jamming in together in sort of the same newsreel in the
Really,
same
it
day.
is in
Yeah,
a
so
sense.
it's
Yeah. Well, I mean,
interesting.
it's the good news is the capital increases are getting less because the deficits are getting less, because we dropped the deficit down from like 200 and some million from last season to 120, I believe, in losses this year.
Yes,
So
but 80 million less from the UCL, so it's
yeah. So I think, given a fourth place finish, I think we would actually start seeing Juve in the black, or it would be in the green. No, technically the black,
black,
right? Because
the
in
black.
financial, it's black.
Yeah.
So
there you go. Not the worst, not the best. We'll see. January, I think, is really where we'll see if we actually have money, because capital increase doesn't mean transfer market money. It could just be covering off some debts.
just capital gains. It's a capital gains. It's pretty much what it is. You're just increasing the amount of capital that the club has. You're
Yeah.
compensating for assets. Though, if it is 100 and some change in debts and you're putting in 200, you might have some transfer splurging. You might.
But I think we're still, honestly, it's just rolling into October. At least another month or so before we really get the juicy rumors, I believe. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll stay tuned.
Yeah, and any player can pop out of nowhere and start performing, and then it completely changes your entire thing. Because remember, we were thinking about we need a right back as a substitute for Weah, and McKennie's decided to emerge out of the woodwork and become the new beast that we didn't deserve, but we've always wanted. So you never know; things like that can happen.
Yeah. Now this is the last little news piece that's gonna roll in. I love how everything's rolling into each other today. This is with regards to Chiesa. So I'm gonna bring up a little something here. During the training yesterday, Chiesa felt a discomfort to his semi-membranosus muscle after taking a shot. The striker stopped immediately to avoid any ruptures and bigger issues. The strain is there, but it is still possible to see him on the field. No, it's not at this point. This is a little older. We will not see Chiesa anymore. It's basically
He tweaked his hammy.
it's his hammy.
He tweaked his hammy.
It's his ham. That's a fancy way of saying he tweaked his ham.
Yeah,
I just want to give a visual, so you a semi-membranosus. Like, come on, guys.
He tweaked his butt cheek. Look, I mean, talking about it from a playing perspective, it sucks. It happens. Like, for example, I've had moments like that where I've kicked the ball and my hamstrings are like, no! And it's just like, I get it. But I think this kind of adds on to my frustration, right, about Dusan and Chiesa. We're playing one time a week, man. How the hell are you guys tweaking your hamstrings? You're professional athletes. Come on. But one's got a bad back, the other one's got a bad hammy.
Chiesa, so judging by... Should we just roll into the presser? Things are just rolling into each other. Okay, so
less transition time.
Allegri was fairly upset today at the press conference with one thing in particular, and that was with regards to injuries. So I guess I'll just hit the injury thing first. There were a few things from the presser, but this one, accumulations of injuries, stop it, he says. There are no muscular injury chains. Chiesa has no muscular injury. He's worried. Pogba didn't suffer muscular injury. Vlahovic neither. The only one is Sandro. And he goes on fairly angry for a little bit. I mean, just watch it yourself. I don't want to bore you with the whole transcript of it, but he was pissed off because they are. I don't know. Like, what do you think? They are sort of muscular injuries in a sense. Like, he's kind of,
or in this case, they just need to stop being so flippin' soft.
And I know you can technically say, like, oh no, maybe this is a nerve injury, but when your nerves damaged, your muscles react. It's a pretty slippery slope.
It's a muscle injury. It's 100% these are muscular injuries. Your lower back, what is it? Lower back is your muscles, unless you unless there was like actual like shift in his vertebrae, there's nothing there. And then it's just Chiesa tweaked it, shot it awkwardly, tweaked his hamstring. That's pretty much what it is. It's just that, look, I hate being this guy, but I'm going to be this guy for this clip. Your two main centerpieces in your offense are some of the softest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
He's saying it. Yeah, something. I mean, it's a concern. It's definitely a concern.
It is. Like, I love Chiesa for his grit and his drive, but holy hell, man. It's a tweaked hamstring. Relax. It's not an ACL tear.
We'll see. Again, we don't have the whole picture. Maybe there is more to it. Maybe there's less to it. Maybe it's a mental thing. It could very much be a mental game. But, I mean, it is what it is. We don't have Chiesa. As we get into this lineup, you're going to see that there's going to be a couple changes here because our attack is completely different. So, that being said, we're rolling into more presser stuff. We have Keane, Milik, Yildiz, Rabiot, Fajoli, and Moretti that will start scoring, especially Fabio. So Allegri has faith in these names that despite Vlahovic, Chiesa being out, that we have all these names that are going to come up, step up to the plate, and bang him in the back of the net. Baseball reference for some footy. I don't know if that made sense, but
I got it.
you got it because you're American. All right. So he's got faith that we're still going to score. Now, on the counter, the results are speaking for Juric, a coach who's really demanding. Playing against him is always difficult. Already a decisive point of the season? No, not yet. But he's kind of saying
Rubber meets the road, guys. It's
it's
October.
hard. Yeah, and it's kind of hard. Like it's not going to be easy. So yes, I have faith in my guys to produce some offense, but they're going to really have to try. It's not going to be they're not going to roll over, play dead, right? We're going to have to earn this one.
Yeah. And it's normal, right? It's an Ivan Juric team. Ivan Juric's teams are really, really stubborn to break down. But once you figure out how to get through one, it usually opens up the floodgates.
Yeah. So he doesn't fear the lack of strikers. He wasn't okay allegedly with the game in Atalanta. Even though we had our strikers there, he thinks that we still have something in the tank. Even Yildiz might have his debut referenced here as a trequartista, perhaps. Yeah. But let's get into the lineup now, speaking of that.
Yeah, so kind of looking at that from that perspective, right? Even though it's not on the FOTMob, and FOTMob is kind of just keeping it very, very generic. So when you look at it here, so you have Tech in your back with your back three of Bremer, Danilo, and Gatti. I think that's going to be a given, right? That's going to be your starting three unless something happens and Walgani needs to step in. Your middle of the field is going to be where it gets interesting, right? So Kostic has started the past couple of games. Now it's going back to Cambiaso. Then you have Rabiot, Locatelli, and Fagioli. Rabiot and Locatelli are going to be your main starters for sure. I still, maybe Allegri knows something we don't, but it's going to be one of those moments where you're going to have to either do something with Rabiot because he just has not been producing stellarly over the past couple of matches. And then right now, Fagioli with Miretti is like a toss-up, right? Flip the coin, whichever one of the two that you want to start. I think McKennie's essentially kicked way off the right wing back job, which I'm a little bit perplexed on that because you can utilize Weah as another striker, but on this it says Milik and Keane. The other thing too that they mentioned was Allegri potentially doing a 3-4-1-2. So you would have essentially one of Locatelli or Fagioli would be sacrificed for Mr. Yildiz as the trequartista or as your attacking midfielder. So I'm curious to see if that actually happens or not because Allegri has been training in that formation, but Allegri trains in hundreds of formations and doesn't use them, so we never know. But
he's been spotted working the 4-4-2 this week as well.
Yeah, so he's looking at it from a different option. I mean, it's understandable, right? Chiesa and Vlahovic are both out, so you're going to need to do something a little bit different, right? Unless somehow Keane and Milik are able to really cook together. Looking at the Torino side, Tameze, Shkurs, and Rodriguez, that's always going to be a pain in the ass to get through these guys, just the way that Juric plays a compact, really sit back defensive line. Villanova, Ricci, Ilic, and Lazaro. Those again, the wingbacks of Bellanova and Lazaro are going to be a pain, right? Because they're going to stretch the game out wide with Camaro and Vlasic. So it's essentially an overlapping between the center attacking, air quotes, center attacking midfielders and the wing and respective wingbacks. And Zapata's always a threat, right? A big, strong number 9, good in the air, able to do decent hold up play. That's something that Juric's sides have lacked for the past couple of seasons. Even though they surprisingly aren't doing as well as they should offensively. I think Torino has been a little bit gassy offensively, but defensively, they are going to be very difficult to break down.
I think you're right on the money there. That's typically the case, especially, I mean, derbies, guys. These derbies, they just grind down. I don't think we're really going to get much of a change here. The past couple weeks, I think more of the same, unfortunately. I'm going to lock in at I don't know, Zapata has a habit of scoring against us, but I'm going to go with a 1-0 win.
It's interesting, right? Because you and I, when we did this last season, towards the end of the last season, when they did that second derby, we were like, it's a boring snooze fest. It's terrible at its finest, 2 terrible coaches, and it ended up being 4-2.
You never know.
I want to say because our drums and megaphones and the Drugi organization is back.
Yes. How did we not mention that?
I waited for it. The
There it
Drugis
is.
are back. The Drugis are back, essentially occupying the Curva Sud. Everything. So every ounce of equipment that they have has been approved by the police office or whatever the hell the security office has approved all of it. So they are coming in full force.
Yeah, it's going to be good,
So
guys.
I am expecting something pretty decent as far as Juve. To be honest with you, I'm gonna say we score 3 goals. I think the cauldron is back, as Kevin would say. The atmosphere is there, the emotions is there. It's the game right before the international break. I think Juve come out swinging, so I'm gonna say 3-1. Because the
3-1,
reason why I
okay.
say one, is Torino has scored in their last 5 matches.
Good point. They have the ability to attack. They're maybe not the most lethal, but they do have that ability. I mean, that could be good. It's going to go, I think, yeah. I mean, the cauldron is there, so it could very much ignite the fury inside the team. What do you guys think? It really could be either way. Do you like Dash's idea of high-scoring game? Do you like my idea of nice and tight? I mean, who doesn't like it tight? Let me know down in the comments. Dash, is there any last housekeeping here before we sign off and start playing some FC?
Nope. We just got to remember, like the video. Also, take a peek at some of our new style reels that we're posting out as well. Obviously, go ahead and show the podcast guys some love. And remember, guys, no matter how shitty the situation is, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Just gotta believe. On that note, that was so corny. But anyways, guys, we will see ya.
Wow. I can't believe
I just said that.
you.
Look, I got to make sure people pay attention to the end of the video, okay? So if they comment on this, then we know they watched it.
All right, guys. Thanks. Despite the rough landing, we'll see you tonight and or tomorrow.
Join the memberships.
What? Forza Juve.